You're listening to the Major Pod Network, the only place where your favorite toy store, bar, arcade, and arena are all on the same block. Scratch that major itch.
Today on the Game Marks podcast, we play 5-Star Wrestling, courtesy of Mega Mark Jamie Patterson. Will this game hold up today? Will we play it forever? Woo! Or future endeavor?
You're fired!
All this plus gaming news, GMP64 and Clash at the feast. Plug in, put on those nostalgia goggles, because this week's Game Marks podcast starts now.
And now, the Game Marks.
Welcome to the Game Marks podcast, presented by the Major Pod Network. I am Mr. Anything is Feasible, George Feis.
And I'm the man they call Johnny Clash, and today we are playing 5-Star Wrestling for the PlayStation 3, courtesy of Mega Mark Jamie Patterson. Thank you so much for this game, Soups.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah. As always, we love to hear from you guys, so please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and make sure to subscribe and rate this podcast wherever you choose to listen. And join in on the conversation on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod and on our Patreon, patreon.com/GameMarksPod. John?
What's up?
As I record this, I am sitting 3 feet away from you.
Stay away. You're trying to play footsie. I don't like it.
This has been a while since we've done something like this. This is fun. I like when we do these in-person episodes. But let's talk about last week, man. We played WWE Crush Hour, a game that you loved. Absolutely loved.
I can't say I hated it. I like the creativity of it. I just won't go back and play it again. I do have to correct something we were talking about, which was Reverend Devon, actually, because we thought that this was the only game that he was actually Reverend Devon and not just Devon of the Dudley Boys. But it turns out it was actually SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. He is Reverend Devon, and all through the story mode, he actually asks you for donations, and apparently it gets really annoying. So we didn't look that one up because the ones within the same year of Crush Hour were Here Comes the Pain. So that was my bad. But also, this episode was also available on the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast stream itself. So you might have seen it there. You might have listened twice. You might have chose that one over this one. If you're a new listener, welcome. We have so much here to share with you today on 5-Star Wrestling. But let's talk about Patreon real quick. Because today, if you signed up for our Patreon, you get this show ad-free. Tomorrow, you will get these beautiful show notes that drive the show with GMP Game Over at night at 7 p.m. Wednesday, you played Hammerlock Wrestling. I'm so sorry I played that the week before, and I will be playing the legendary Micro League Wrestling, one of the first ever wrestling video games. Thursday, I put out a little bonus. I played through Mickey Mousecapade after we talked about it so much. I had to do a little playthrough. It was miserable. I don't know how I ever got past the levels I got past when I was a kid because I can't do it in my 30s. And of course, Friday, Clash and Burn. But we have a new streamer spotlight.
Yeah, and listen, you playing Mickey Mousecapades and posting that up did spark a little conversation in our Discord about maybe those not as well-known early, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega titles that may have been considered like a one-off. I know that I had brought up Tiny Toons, Buster's Hidden Treasure.
Yes.
Like so many other games came up like that. And honestly, that's a huge reason why I like our Discord. I mean, there's a whole plethora of reasons why I do, but that's always a fun conversation starter where, you post a conversation talking about an old game and then,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing more like that as a little bonus. Maybe some Looney Tunes, maybe some Batman for the Game Boy or the NES. Those were always my games growing up.
Oh yeah, but the streamer spotlight, new month, new streamer spotlight, and for the month of September, the streamer spotlight is twitch.tv/Marauding Night. That is MARAUDINGNIGHT. Marauding Night. If you are ever coming in and hanging out on Wednesdays when I go live, Marauding Night is always there, always a part of the stream, whether we're playing Pummel Party, she plays Chivalry 2, she plays Phasmophobia, Dead by Daylight. She plays pretty much everything. Modern Warfare, Warzone, all the good games. She's in it. Great content creator. Make sure to go show her some love and tell her that the Game Marks podcast sent you.
Speaking of Warzone, I've been playing a lot more lately. I've had a random, rare nights of free time lately. So last week, I severely cut my finger open, which the Discord knows. I was just trying to cut some bread. I had to go get some stitches. It is hard to aim a gun with your middle finger, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So I've been running different classes lately to modify. So I didn't just stop playing. I modified.
Are you
running more MP5s and shotguns and laser sights?
You're not ready to risk opening the stitches to just,
I did it, and my finger it got, I would say, at least triple in size that night that I played, and I took the bandage off, and I guess from sweating from playing so much, it was just white. It was so nasty.
Yeah, that's not good at all.
So now I'm kind of levitating the finger up in the air as I play and trying to use my middle finger. It's so bad. That's where I need one of those, I can't, what's the name of the controls with the paddles on the back?
The
Scuff.
Scuff.
Yeah, Scuff controller. That's where I could use a Scuff controller, but I'm not a part of that game. Anyway, back on track. YouTube.com/GameMarksPodcast, or just search Game Marks Podcast. Once we hit 400 subs, we are going to be doing the video game history of the Road Warriors, the Legion of Doom, Hawk, and Animal, much like we did The Undertaker and Bret Hart in the past. We are currently at 345. We are inching our way up. I love it. I love to see it go up. That more eyes on our content means more stuff for you guys. So please head on over to YouTube and subscribe today. It's free. But while we're on YouTube, GMP64 episode 30, which means there's only 4 more episodes of GMP64 before the big one on October 3rd, WrestleMania. And let me tell you, this is going to be unlike anything we've ever done before. There's going to be special guests. It's going to be a big event on Twitch. And we are very much looking forward to it. As we're putting it together currently, we're getting giddy. Like, it's awesome.
I'm actually kind of sad, man. Like, this has been...
It's the end of an era.
I mean, it's the end of season 1, that's for damn sure. And, I mean, it's just crazy to think that, like, we've been doing this for 8 months.
It's beyond crazy to me, because it was kind of like a pipe dream. Like, we thought it up. We said we'll run with this a little, see what happens. And 8 months later, we're still going, and we're working towards our big event. And I think it's going to be well worth it for you guys to be there on Twitch on October 3rd, 8 p.m.
Yeah, I think you should maybe carve out a little time in your calendar. Make sure that you're there.
Just pop in and say hi, and you'll see some WWF No Mercy action, and you might see some familiar faces as well.
Oh, yeah. But hey, do you know right now, there's a sale going on. Pro Wrestling Tees. It is the Labor Day sale, and we got a whole bunch of shirts up there. But John, on our website, GameMarksPod.com/shop, what else we got up there?
We have gaming grips, we have guitar picks, we have the new 2-year anniversary print, which I just got in. They are in my possession. I am showing George what it looks like right now. It is beautiful. Same company we used last year to do our prints, and they do a fantastic job. These are high quality. Get yours while you can. We also have some 2-year anniversary t-shirts available as well.
That, I can tell you something. I saw the artwork when you were making this, but it printed way better. Like, it looks...
To use a word we both hate as designers, it pops.
It definitely pops.
But all right, are you ready for some gaming news? Because there's some stuff here.
Oh, man, I'm ready. Let's go.
Are you looking to get a better grip on life? How about your video games? Well, VGF Gamers are the largest silicone gaming brand in the USA. They have a variety of different and unique skins for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One controllers and consoles. Check out their products at VGFgamers.com and use code GameMarks to receive 15% off your order at checkout. That's GAMEMARKS at checkout. VGF Gamers. Better grip, better style.
An upcoming Transformers tabletop RPG will be published by Renegade Game Studio and is scheduled for a March 2022 release. The core rulebook will contain complete rules on how to play, including character creation tools, weapons, equipment, vehicles, and combat and exploration information, and details on secret bases and special equipment. There will also be an introductory adventure for first-level characters in the rulebook to help get players acquainted with the rules of the game. Now, Fantasy Flight Games has announced a new quick-paced card game based on the Game of Thrones franchise. Earlier this week, Fantasy Flight announced a Game of Thrones Betwixt, a card game made for 3 to 6 players. The game tackles the political side of Westeros with players competing to build the most successful small council. Now, BioWare confirmed at the end of 2020 that it is already beginning work on the next mainline installment in the studio's beloved sci-fi RPG series, Mass Effect. And while there's still essentially nothing that we know about this project in general sense, a new report has now emerged that tells us that the game should be looking to improve on Mass Effect Andromeda in a pretty notable way. Mass Effect 5, which is the current working title, could be using Unreal Engine 5 as the game's engine for the title's creation. This is a big improvement when compared to Mass Effect Andromeda because many of the issues that the most recent entry in the series had when it first launched were largely due in part to being on the Frostbite engine. And that's all the gaming news we have this week. Check back next week.
You a tabletop gaming guy?
There was a period of time, I can't name you the games that I used to play, but I had a friend that was really into it, and like the really complex...
Like a D&D kind of thing?
Yes and no. There was... I can't think of the name. We went all out, and we did like the quick ones where you have to put the tiles down and make the maze.
Settlers of Catan?
That sounds familiar. That was... maybe one of them.
Where you have to like harvest wheat and stuff. And
maybe. That might have been one of them. This was like maybe a year or two of my life, so I don't really remember much. It was fun. I would get back into it. I just don't have the time for that right now, and I don't really know people that do it. Hey, what are you doing?
So, okay. Peeling back the curtain here. When we first started doing the podcast 3 years ago, if that, just let that settle in for a second. Back when we used to record at Cap, go in, record on a Thursday night, see all the guys there, Bear Bronson, Max Caster, Aaron Rourke, everyone else who was there. There was a brief period I was like, oh, it'd be cool if we just like got all of these guys and just like had a game night, but like a board game night, and like filmed it to like put on the YouTube. And it was just like, start off playing something stupid, like maybe we all played like Monopoly or something, or Chutes and Ladders, and like slowly worked up to playing something like Settlers, or like get a giant Dungeons and Dragons game going with like all the people that
I've never played that.
I've never played it either. It's a game that I've always wanted to play, and like sounds in depth enough where like even if you're not super into like the tabletop style games, there's enough story there. Like you pretty much like, there's one guy who just sets the whole story up. Yeah.
My brother-in-law actually is big into it and has a game night every week where he converted his garage to literally look like a dungeon.
That's...
Like he has like styrofoam bricks on the wall that he like shaved down to look like actual dungeon walls and spray painted and stuff.
That's sick. It's foam and the spray paint, do you need through the foam?
Yeah. It looks pretty good. It looks like actual like cinder blocks. And him and his dad built this incredible like gigantic gaming table that has like USB outlets in it and cup holders. It's crazy.
All right, well, maybe we'll have to utilize that table.
Yeah.
We'll get a giant D&D game going one night.
But here's a funny thing. Mass Effect Andromeda was on Frostbite, which is pretty common with EA. Now they're going to Unreal Engine 5. It seems like a lot of companies are going with Unreal Engine 5 moving
Epic's unstoppable, man. Can't kill it.
Frostbite is one of the it's one of the selling points that they're using in this year's like NHL and Madden game. But
have you seen the things that people have been able to do with Unreal? Like,
yes.
Did you see that someone remade like the first level of Super Mario 64 on the Unreal Engine?
Someone did No Mercy.
It's mind blowing how just like picture perfect and like scenic these graphics are, when especially it's something that you're used to just being like blocks on the N64. You're like, oh my god, the characters actually have shape now.
Yeah, and if you look up actually Frostbite and Madden and Frostbite and all that, you'll see a ton of articles saying like, did Frostbite ruin the Madden franchise? And I've had my gripes with it in the past, and Listen, if the game works, sure, but there's usually, I know you hate EA, there's more issues than not with these games.
I don't hate EA. EA just hasn't done enough to right the wrongs.
Yeah, it sounds like our ex-girlfriends.
They make some of my favorite games, but they just they just don't do enough to like fix the things that they've ruined.
Yeah. All right. What do you say? We head on over to our favorite part of the entire episode, the question of the week. What's up, Game Marks? Are you trying to look your best while repping your favorite video game podcast duo? We know just the place. Head over to ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod to pick up your favorite GMP designs, including our various logo tees, future endeavor, the classic NES Pro Wrestling style tee, and of course, Mark the F out. Order today and receive a phone call from us. You never know who will pop in. That's ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod. Play it forever.
All right, the question of the week is a weekly segment where you ask us a question on social media at GameMarksPod. If we pick your question, you get a Game Marks podcast prize pack. Last week the question was, what is more important when playing a new game, action or story? John and I gave our answers, but we want to know your answers, so we got some responses here from social media. At AK McCrack says, gameplay is the thing that makes it a game. A good story is great, but should be secondary if you want a story that engages with one of the dozens of other entertainment mediums that do it better. And he also gives examples that you could trace this all the way back to the Atari, through the Mario series, and all the way up to Splitgate's full release this year. He says that a bad story doesn't sink a game if the gameplay is solid. And he cites Metal Gear Solid 5, and I agree with that one. But bad gameplay sinks a game regardless of the story. And I'm inclined to agree with that.
I agree with that to an extent, but if you have a game that's decent, are you going to go back and play it if the story's bad? Probably not.
Brings back the argument of the multiplayer that I brought up.
Yeah.
Single player game could suck, but if there's a multiplayer component that makes the game more enjoyable, you know how many people buy Call of Duty and never play the storyline? They just play it for multiplayer?
Yes, I am one of them.
Yeah.
I am 100% one of them.
Speaking of, you getting Vanguard?
I'm going to get Vanguard because I skipped Cold War.
I get Vanguard too, so are you going to get it for that?
Yes, I also miss playing multiplayer. I have multiplayer on my PlayStation, but I don't feel like turning on the PlayStation.
Oh, great. So new streams coming out.
Yeah, we're going to be on
end of September. Me and Johnny Clash streaming on Twitch, multiplayer Call of Duty.
I miss multiplayer, not just Warzone. Like I want to, I want to play Team Deathmatch and all that.
Cool. So the two games I'm buying this year, Diablo 2 Resurrected and Call of Duty Vanguard.
Vanguard's actually coming out like the weekend I'm moving into my new house, so I'm probably not going to get it until like December, maybe like
I'll
Christmas
buy it
time.
for you, be a housewarming gift.
Oh yeah, okay.
All right, but this week's question comes from Dakota Kellogg. What special match types would you like to see in the next generation of wrestling games? I got one right off the top of my head.
What is it?
You gotta have a death match in there.
A death match.
Gotta have a death match. Think about this. Hypothetically, all the good that our boss Matt Cardone is doing for GCW. Imagine they sign a partnership with our friend Gakdaw. And now there's not that his game Ultra Violence becomes the GCW game. But imagine if there's licensed wrestlers in there and like one of the arenas that you can have is the GCW arena.
That would be cool. I was thinking on a larger scale, like in the next AEW game or 2K.
Then you could have, but he's saying match types in the game. So AEW,
exactly.
deathmatch.
Like we have seen, we're not going to talk about the ending of Kenny Omega and Moxley, but
in theory,
a death match would be pretty cool. Exploding barbed wire.
Imagine
we see it in Fire Pro.
I would say, imagine they build off the same thing that we've known and loved and played a million times just in Clash at the Feast. I feel like every time we do it in a Fire Pro game, we always do a death match.
Yeah, and this is something we asked MJF when we interviewed him. I'd like to see Stadium Stampede, maybe. I know that's a lot to put into a game. What about just War Games? That really hasn't been in a game. You're not going to get the 2 rings with the cage and the timer. It's a lot.
War Games is not something that's really been in a video game.
I actually have had this discussion with a few friends. I'm not going to name names. But we think War Games matches, as great as they may be, are the most boring matches until
100%.
everyone's in the ring because it's just punches and kicks until
It's like
the ring's
Elimination
full.
Chamber.
Yeah. Same with like a Royal Rumble. Like you're just punching and kicking and waiting for the next guy to come in.
But I feel like that's the difference between something like an Elimination Chamber and a Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble is just like, all right, I'm going to hold you in the corner, I'm going to punch, and I'm going to hold you while you teeter on the ropes. But everyone's only waiting for that 10-second countdown. Everyone,
Right.
then it ends.
The shock value.
And then you're like, all right, that next 10-second countdown. Where is it? Where is it?
Yeah, War Games would be a good one. I remember when Elimination Chamber was like the impossible, and then they put it in every game, and it was incredible. I'd still pick that if I play.
Give me the Ready to Rumble 3 Stages of Hell.
Yeah,
Give me the triple cage, man.
We'll never get the triple cage. I would love it, but we will never get the triple cage. Oh man, there's a lot of match types.
I bet. Here we go. Ultraviolence, Cactus. Ultraviolence. Cactus signs a deal with David Arquette,
Oh god.
and he puts the 3 stages of the triple cage in there. Then you have David Arquette and the triple cage licensed in the game. I want it.
Maybe we can get like a Showdown 64 mod of that or something.
I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is one.
All right, but good question. But now we're going to ask you, the fans, the listeners, what special match types would you like to see in the next generation of wrestling games? Give us your choice. Dakota Kellogg, message us on social media. We will get you your prize, which, by the way, everyone who, over the past, I would say, month, I've been waiting on new prizes. They're coming. I have all your addresses. They will be sent out this week.
But, John, do you know what time it is?
I'm tiptoeing.
It is time for us to do our hashtag deep dive into 5-star wrestling.
I'm getting out of the pool.
All right. 5-star wrestling. Released March 17th, 2015 for the PlayStation 3. Developed and published by Serious Parody.
Ain't that,
Yep.
yeah.
Now, this game is built on true ring psychology with heel and face mechanics.
That's what they say.
Did you notice that?
No.
Because I didn't. I will say this, though.
Oh, I did pick baby faces, and I did get my special more than you as the heel. Right? Like, I did a couple moves.
Huh.
Now that I think about it, like, I did a couple things to you, and I had my special, like, right away. Maybe it is... Or maybe it's just... let's keep talking. Maybe it's just the way the game is.
It could have just been the game, the way the game was. But I will say this. They did have the, like, limb targeting damage, which is something that very much is associated with the 2K series.
And I like that. It was kind of like a meter.
With the WWE series. It's not exclusive to 2K. Because they had
it's been before that. But I liked it because it was kind of like a meter within the limbs. Like, your head was, like, a little bit yellow. Then it would fill up to the top yellow. Then it would turn orange. Like, I like that it showed a little bit at a time. Not just, oh, it's white. Oh, now it's yellow.
And there are wrestlers whose finishers and specials and signatures are submission moves. So that definitely lends itself to help nail your victory. So slate yourself as the winner. Let's just address the elephant in the room here. All these wrestlers, parodies of famous wrestlers from both WWE and beyond here. But it's not parody in a comical sense, because they actually kind of did a good job at it.
Yeah, the names might be a little...
I think the names are the worst
funky
part, but like the models themselves and like how they're drawn, like, all right, this is like
yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But this game says it has the most moves out of any wrestling game per wrestler, which I get because it's only 8 wrestlers. They say there's over 200 moves per. Now, I know when we played, I was doing the same 3 things over and over again, but I get it because the way I describe this game, I'm going to get this out now. It is like an M. Dickey game made love with a virtual basement wrestling code game, what I imagine it's going to be. And this is what popped out. Because, not in a bad way. Again, not in a bad way. The virtual basement part, maybe because it's a fresh new, at the time, indie title that's going to try to be a realistic sim.
But collision-wise,
it's very M-Dicky-ish.
Yeah.
You could reverse everything. You could reverse a finisher into a finisher, into a finisher. You could just
not
keep
even
going.
that for me. You know what it was for me that screamed M-Dicky? The heat-seeking running moves.
That?
Every single running attack, it didn't matter if you were 4 feet or 400 feet. If you hit the run button and then whatever shoulder block, clothesline, drop kick, whatever your character did, you're hitting it. It doesn't matter how far you're. It's like a heat-seeking move. It's the most insanely frustrating thing probably about the whole game.
Probably. But let's take it back a step. So this is 2015. Also out was 2K Mobile, 2K16, and WWE Immortal. So not a big pool other than 2K16 of actual wrestling games. So good on them to pick a year where there wasn't much going on and they could just say, hey, we're going to be the game under 2K16. They had to know they weren't competing, especially with the $19.99 price range. Now, Serious Parody was founded in 2010. They wanted to create the best wrestling games on the planet. Did they do so? That is really up to the user here, because I'm not going to say they did. But their debut title was called Wrestling Manager, and it launched in 2011. It was actually pretty good, had a lot of success. It was actually on the iPhone chart for a while as one of the top wrestling games. They only supported this game for about 2 years, and then they turned all of their attention to the 5-Star Wrestling brand. Now, let's also point out that 5-Star Wrestling is an actual company. I was looking up this game, and I was seeing Matt Riddle, AJ Styles, like all these names, like, hold the phone. These guys are all in this game, and then I realized, no. This is actually a promotion from Scotland. That was a legit wrestling company. They are not still around. They were defunct in 2018, so they only lasted about 3 or 4 years, but hey, good for them. They had a TV show and they had a video game coming out. They were shooting for the stars right away, but if you look them up, you will see John Morrison, Ricochet, you'll see PJ Black, Carlito, you'll see all of this, and it's so awesome to see that, like, this company was really swinging for the fences, and they tried putting out a video game.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was on their social media, and they posted a video of 20 seconds of pure awesomeness, and it's Randy Orton going for the punt kick against The Rock, and The Rock reverses it into a rock bottom, and I think it may be the most seamless thing I've ever seen in this game.
No, I get it. That's what they were building this game on, different, which I appreciate. I very much appreciate when a game tries to be different. I just don't know if a lot of it worked, and for different reasons.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's one of those rare situations where I think they tried to do too much and never really nailed down one thing that they did well. The game itself works, and I'm very happy about that.
Very much worked.
It works, and like there's no like game-breaking bugs or anything like that. Like, you know, it's not like there's a ton of moving mechanics. Like there's no entrances, but there's
was a little
in-ring announcements.
Music.
I'm just gonna come out and say it. My favorite part about this entire game is the music.
Very serious parody. I guess you could call them tech songs of the wrestlers' actual music, but these were done so well that we actually, before we just started recording, we went through and listened to them all again because they were actually really awesome.
They're so good. It almost sounds like you went to the greatest cover band and you went, hey, I want a song that sounds like this person's theme song, but not like, don't copy the homework.
Right.
And it's like the most successful thing about this game.
It's like me reading gaming news. Just change the words a little bit.
Yeah.
That's the thing about this game. It does work. They did put so much into it. It's very unique. It works. Everything works. When you hit a move, it shows you when to block. It shows you when to block finishers. It shows you the button to do finishers. I feel like the controller interface itself was very easy to use, very comparable to like a SmackDown game.
Yeah.
It's kind of almost what we wanted, exactly what we want now to go against 2K, but it just wasn't there, and I just can't put my finger on what wasn't there.
Was
it the roster?
I want to know. Was
it the stories?
Team?
Was it the commentary? I just can't figure out what didn't drive it home for me.
So, Serious Parody is a small company. If you go, they have a LinkedIn page. It says they are anywhere between 11 to 50 employees. Now, it's a real company, and you take that into consideration. There's going to be someone who does marketing. There's going to be like HR and payroll and stuff like that. So the actual like pool of game developers may not have ended up being as big as you would have thought. So maybe, this is a company of, we'll say, 35, 40 people. Maybe 10 are actually working on the game itself. It's not a lot of people to be working on the game. But
that's even give or take. You don't even know.
Yeah. So a smaller company making a game that is this polished? I mean, are there things that could be better? Yeah, but like we said before, it works. There's nothing that when you play the game that you're like, now this match is unwinnable, or something is super janky and weird. The heat-seeking running moves isn't like a game-breaking thing. It's just something annoying. Which,
it got me out of some predicaments.
Yeah, which most wrestling game has. Listen, it's the same thing when I got out of the ring when we played Nitro. It's something that's in the game. It's not like a game-breaking exploit or something like that. It's just something that you can do to annoy the person that you're playing with or use to your advantage against the computer. For such a small team, I think this game is okay. I don't think it hits the nail on the head with everything, but it does some things pretty good. But like you said, the controllers, the controllers are good. The songs were the best part of the game. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to jump into the actual match types that are in the game itself. And I think that this, on paper, the game itself has a lot of replayability because your game modes are as follows. You have your exhibition mode where you can do a submission match, a 2 out of 3 falls, a pinfall only match, a falls count anywhere match, a first blood match, and a no holds barred match. Now, in addition to that, there are also challenges. John had mentioned the challenges a little earlier. It's 40 hours of challenges that have 128 challenges with 400 different objectives.
Jesus. So pretty much it's like achievements.
Yeah.
So that is the replay factor here, which I asked you a couple weeks ago. I said, do achievements make or break a game? I feel like in this case, these challenges would make or break replaying this game or not, or if you want to keep going.
Well, so when you complete a challenge, you play a match, you earn gold. The gold gives you the opportunity to unlock additional attires, match types, because all the match types that I just read, aside from your regular wrestling match, everything else is behind a paywall. So you have to play through the game to unlock, you get your gold and then you can unlock a submission match, a 2 out of 3 falls, a hardcore match. Like all those different game types, you have to play through challenges to get gold to unlock it. Same goes for alternate attire. So we'll read through the roster in a little bit, and then we'll talk a little bit about how these character models look and then what the alternative attires look like. But I don't know. Did we talk enough about like the actual gameplay itself? Do you want to go into more?
Well, here's something that we don't see very often in other games. Maybe some Japanese games. You know how you could hold the ropes for 5 seconds and you don't let go. The ref might DQ you. In this game, if you use cheap moves in front of the ref, there's eye pokes, there's groin punches, there's DQs for this type of stuff. Now the thing is, this was a comment that came out before the game really hit. I feel like this game put so much out there in their press releases, in their descriptions before anything was final. There's no ref.
Yeah.
So while they say eye pokes, low blows, and all that are no good, there's no ref to DQ you if that's the case. So maybe they fix that in the second game, which we'll touch on a little bit later, but yeah, I don't know. I think they put a lot into, I get why it's a small roster, because they put a lot into each wrestler with the 200 unique moves, with everyone has a rival, everyone is a heel or a face, and everyone has a counter to that. So each wrestler type has a different counter type. I think Pokemon, it's like a water type versus a rock type. Like you're getting that in wrestler form. And I think that's pretty cool that they went more in depth with that stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely something that, I don't know. I feel like it could be something that we've seen in the past in WWE games, but it's never been like fully flushed out. Where like, you remember back in the SmackDown vs. Raw series, they even do it now in like 2K20. But when you're making your wrestler, you can pick the type of wrestler that it was. But back in the day, in like early SmackDown series, even like, SmackDown 1 or 2, you can pick what your offensive style is and then what your defensive style is. So you could be a powerhouse offensive guy and then be an agility based defensive guy. Right. And like that could be your wrestler. So like, and then like over time that kind of evolves into the system that we have now, but it was never kind of flushed out as well as this or as much as this, where there's so many unique things. Like it was just like, oh, you're an agility-based defensive guy. When someone tries to grab control of your arm, you're going to do the Owen Hart spot. Right. And like the move pool was never as robust as this. Like that's in this, but it's not the only thing you're ever going to do.
Yeah, I get that. I think they tried being so unique that they put so many like differences in this game, but didn't zone in on making like one thing perfect.
Yeah.
I don't know. But all right, we've been talking about this roster. What do you say we finally go and we read this roster?
Oh, baby.
But first, we're going to hear a word from our sponsors. All right. You want me to take this one?
I think it's short enough. You got this.
All right. First up, we have Andy Organ, who is a parody of Randy Orton with his finisher, the RAO and the Career Killer. Uncle Curtis Angel, who is a parody of Kurt Angle. He has the Uncle Slam and the Ankle Lock. Dynamite Pegasus, who is a parody of Chris with the Pegasus Lock and the Dynamite Headbutt. Greg the Hardman Hardy, that's Hearty, is a parody of Jeff Hardy with the Karmic Twist and the Hardy Bomb. I think the best name out of any wrestling game ever, Harvey D.
I love it.
It's a parody of Rob Van Dam, and he has the All-Star Frog Splash. Then there's Johnny the Bull not Stamboli. Johnny the Bull Maivia. Not Maivia, it's Maivia.
I think it's Miavia.
Miavia, who is a parody of The Rock, and he has the Jabroni Slam and the Horn. Mike Iceberg, who is a parody of Goldberg, has
Iceberg.
Has the Titanic Slam and the Icebreaker. And then there's Ragnarok the Conqueror, who is a parody of Brock Lesnar, and his finisher is The End Is Nigh.
Now, all of these guys have two outfit styles. The unlockable styles, in some cases, are just recolors, but just break it down really quick because one really stood out to me as something fun. So for your Iceberg second outfit, it's just
Iceberg.
It's just those lined trunks that Goldberg used to wear, where it's the black
like
trunks
2003.
with like the white stripe. The Jeff Hardy, mesh shirt, like looking really
cool
solo run Jeff Hardy.
They're all actually really good looking character models.
Yeah, the models themselves are not.
I hate the tattoos on like Ragnarok, but
yeah, but that's
what you
also
expect.
It also looks like the generic tattoos that you would pick from.
Exactly, that's why I hate them. You know what shocks me here? There's no like John Cena parody. Like who's bigger than John Cena in all of this?
I mean, I'd say that The Rock is.
Do you need Pegasus Kid here or
no? But you want to have representation of, because if you don't have Pegasus Kid, you only have one person that does a submission.
Okay, I don't know. You could have
done something.
I can think of many more options in 2015. How about a Bret Hart?
Yeah, you could have done anything, but Benoit at the time is
Bart Hart or something. I don't know.
Bart Hart. But yeah, so you have the Johnny the Bull wearing his I guess not the Brahma Bull, just the Johnny the Bull logo with a little American flag in there. But the one that I love, we'll post this picture so you guys can see it. Andy Organ has an AWO shirt on.
Yes.
And for some reason, when we were putting the notes together and I saw this, I popped.
I actually like Harvey D's cheetah skin gear as opposed to like the tiger stripe that he wore in ECW.
Yeah, I gotta say, the one that I don't love,
Kurt.
yeah, not
Curtis
fan.
yeah.
The gold, white, and red.
Very awkward.
It's just a weird color scheme. But the mustache, man. That
Fantastic.
mustache
My uncle
that he
has that
has
kind of
is great.
mustache.
If I could
Yeah.
grow a mustache like that, I would.
Overall, I do like that it's a small roster because it's the heavy hitters. It's not like
Except for
Joe Schmuck. Like,
Pegasus.
it's actually parodies of like the top guys for the most part.
Yeah. And at some point, we got to figure out how we're going to get all this music in here.
Well, I played Ragnarok during the roster.
I know, but there's so many more good ones.
We're just gonna have to.
Can we close out the end of the episode with the Andy Organ one? Because it is,
All right, fine.
that's my number one.
Sorry, Max, you're bumped. You're bumped,
After
kid.
it. All right.
Stay tuned after Max Caster's rap.
The arenas, though. Not a lot of arenas here. So you have your 5-star arena, you have your assault and battery arena, and then the wrestling gym.
What is with games putting in wrestling gyms? Like, they're not like indie looking gyms. These are like
No,
gym gyms.
but I
like,
wonder if that's like maybe, what the 5-star looking gym. Like if Cap came out with a gym or a game, wouldn't it be
looks
cool?
like a mini arena though, the Cap Arena. We got the Tron with the trusses and the curtain and the ring. Like, it's not.
But I'm saying,
Yeah, okay.
If Cap made a game or if someone approached Create a Pro and they were like, we want to make a Create a Pro game, none of the guys from Cap are going to be in it. But we want to use your name and make a game and then put other wrestlers in it. But we can make Create a Pro an arena and it'll be the wrestling gym. Be awesome. It'd be immortalized.
Yeah. Okay, I get it. That is if this is actually what 5-stars gym looked like. They might not even have a training school attached. They were
might
only
not even look
3 years.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the artwork because this was a digital PS3 game from the PS3 store. It's not really
Not a lot to unpack here.
not a lot to unpack. It wasn't a front and back that you read and whatnot. So pretty much it's the 5-star wrestling logo, same as the indie company, with Ragnarok giving Johnny the Bull, what's it called? The end is nigh.
The end is nigh.
So they put the two most recognizable wrestlers at the time, right? Kind of front and center, and it's a wrestling game, so that's all we care about. Now let's talk about the art style a little bit, because I have right here a comparison from 2013 to 2014. The game was obviously released 2015. It seems like they started out looking a little M. Dickey-ish, a little smooth and a little lack of features, lack of dimension. And then the final product ended up actually looking more human and decent.
Yeah, they definitely figured out a way to kind of polish that up a little bit more and kind of make it look a little more textured, I guess is the word.
Yeah.
A little more shape to the actual wrestler model. It's not just like, the muscles are more defined. The skin tone is a little more natural. There's more of an expression in the face. Like the guy actually has like a jawline in the 2014 version. Like they definitely had an upgrade here.
Yeah, and other than the actual character models themselves, I think the arena looks pretty good. Kind of reminds me of like a Legends of Wrestling arena in a way, mixed with like a New Japan All-Star Pro Wrestling arena. I love the Titantron. It's got aspects of like all the Monday Night Raws wrapped in one. But it just sucks that there's no entrances that you actually get to see them up close.
Yeah, but I will say this. In games, when the hard cam for the gameplay footage shows the Tron and the match is playing on the Tron,
That's cool.
I love that so much.
A lot of them
It's like
don't do that.
Such a stupid detail. We've been doing GMP64 for 8 months. You know how sick I am of looking at a blank Tron?
It's less distracting though. I get it.
Oh,
I get
man.
it.
I love it so much when it's in games because it's just a simple little detail that, talk about it with the crowds, should also be in the same sentence with the arenas. Helps with the immersion.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. But all right. Usually this is the part where I will cut you off and I will say, "Did you know?" But there's literally only one thing here that
Yes, we'll just talk about
we're
it.
just going to talk about it. This game has a sequel called 5-Star Wrestling Regenesis. It is available still in the PlayStation Store for PS4, also by Serious Parody. It was just a big upgrade from 5-Star Wrestling. Different roster, different people. I saw some videos. They had like real wrestlers promoting this game. They had like Rey Mysterio, John Morrison. So I'm not going to take away any credit for what they put into this game because it's actually pretty cool. Here's something about Serious Parody. So they also, much like we wanted 2K to do, they own their mistakes. This game did come out with some bugs and some mess ups, like most games do. And they came out and they said, "We made a rookie mistake towards the very end of our lengthy QA period, and as a result, launched in some territories with really bad game-breaking bugs. While this bout of free content won't make up for releasing a buggy game, we do hope it shows that we are not the kind of team to launch and leave. Even if that would have been the much easier route, we are eternally grateful to all of those who have supported us so far, and giving away free DLC is our way of saying thank you." So good on them for righting their wrongs. Game came out buggy. They said, "We're going to fix that, and here's some free stuff." What more can you do at that point? You're not going to refund people.
No,
They're hands-on.
we talked about it when we got the question of what could 2K have done to write 2K20. The first thing that we said was, give us free DLC.
That's it. That's just like a good, here you go, thank you,
Yeah.
we're sorry.
That's
all we want.
It's taking the hit yourself to make sure that the community is happy. It's
Yeah,
a simple,
that's it.
It's a simple, small little thing.
I know there's been some times where I'll log into even like an NHL game and they're like, "Here, open your new packs." I don't play Hockey Ultimate Team, but there's been like some errors and stuff where I get these packs and I appreciate the effort. I don't play that game mode, but thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for caring. Okay. This is awkward. You're in front of me. You're actually with me today. I'm going to go get some lotions. We're going to do some live R&R.
No, but you get lotion for what?
My hands are a little dry.
Okay.
Gotta keep my cut
Okay.
moist.
I'm just making sure.
Moist. It's time for some R&R rating and reviews.
Don't say.
All right, we only have a few. We have OPM in the UK gives this game a 20%. Push Square gives this a 3 out of 10. And PlayStation Universe, being loyal to their own game, gives it a 60%. All right, so that's the reviews from the professionals, I guess we could say. But the more important question, because right now,
The true professionals.
it's time to rate the games.
The game!
All right, George Feis, Jamie Patterson, Mega Mark, Soups. He chose this game. He's the one with the Game Marks podcast tattoo. He is a dedicated listener. What are you going to tell him? Are you going to tell him that you played it forever?
Woo!
Or future endeavor?
You're fired!
All right. Time is going to come probably about a year from now. Well, we are going to play 5-Star Wrestling Regenesis. We're going to play the PlayStation 4 version. I am going to assume that is a better version of this game.
You know what happens when you assume.
Yeah.
Look at Legends of Wrestling 2.
I don't think there's enough. There's not enough here. It's not a bad game, but I don't see myself playing this without someone else. And we've talked about it many times. You actually corrected me in the past when I brought it up. Multiplayer does not maketh the game. It's a future endeavor from me.
You're fired!
But now, we turn the question to you, Johnny Clash. I'm going to frame it the same way that you did. 5-Star Wrestling, picked by Soups, Jamie Patterson, the man with GMP Man tattooed on his forearm. Well, you can play it forever. You can future endeavor. What you can do over there?
I'm actually really close to playing it forever. But I'm going to go back, talk about last week's question of the week, action versus story, gameplay versus story. I thought I actually had a good time. I didn't expect to like this game because of the other indie titles I've played in the past. But there was a certain smoothness to it. There was a certain familiarity because of the easy controls.
Which is why I want to try the PS4 version.
Right. But I think for me, lacking a story mode, even if it was that still image Fire Pro story mode like Retromania, or even if it was just something other than the challenges, because I feel like those would get really old really fast, I would be more inclined to play this game. I'm not bothered really by the shorter roster. Maybe you could add a few more match types, some cage matches, some more tag stuff, some whatever. But I think I'm just going to have to future endeavor.
You're fired!
Are you ready for me to tell you something that is going to blow your mind and make you so much more excited for Regenesis?
I knew you loved me. Oh, what?
It's got entrances.
See, they're already fixing one thing wrong on the PS4. All right.
That's what I'm ready for, man. That's why, listen, I'm right there with you. I agree with everything that you said. There's just, it's on the line. It's just something that needs to push it over. Maybe it's entrances.
Maybe I expected it to be way worse than it was, so.
Yeah, me too.
Pleasantly surprised by it. And I know we're probably going to get roasted for this, for the people that are like, oh, play 5-star wrestling, it's so bad. I just pointed out, I looked up Curtis Angel's music on YouTube, and I'll read it. If you look up Kurt Angle ripoff theme, it says, this theme is for Curtis Angel, a ripoff of Kurt Angle in the overpriced garbage PSN indie game 5-star wrestling. Is it garbage? It's not garbage. I think people just don't understand what actually went into this game to make it different from a WWE game.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a 2K game, play a 2K game. If you're looking for something different, here it was in 2015.
I want you all to hear this and understand the level that people are going to make this game live on. In 2015, someone made Uncle Curtis Angel in WWE 2K15 with the right music.
Ooh. With the mustache?
No mustache.
No mustache?
No
Come
mustache.
on.
America!
Yeah, you gotta listen for yourself. I'm gonna put Andy Organs at the end of the episode, so stay tuned for that.
Seek it. Seek this music.
But other than that, George, we covered everything. What do you say we talk about our weekly tournament, Clash at the Feast?
Oh, baby.
And if you're listening to this episode before 1 p.m. on Monday, you can still get that brand new Clash at the Feast t-shirt for 20% off on Pro Wrestling Tees. But youtube.com/GameMarksPodcast for this week's episode where we play 5-star wrestling. Last week we played WWE Crush Hour. We played a Raw match. George won. It was actually very close to the computer winning, but George pulled it off. I'm not sure who I'd rather win, you or the computer at this point, but...
Well, we would have to play one more
yeah.
if the computer won, so I did you a favor.
You did me a favor. Then we played a hardcore match where you have to hold the hardcore championship for 30 seconds. Kevin Nash was running away with it. George grabbed it, and he just zigged and he zagged, and I was just trapped in a room trying to U-turn out of it. Then I couldn't get out for the 30 seconds, and you won. So congratulations, you have won your third month, and you're on your way to yet another victory. We'll see what happened this week. Check out YouTube for that. You want to play your music?
Yeah, you can play my music.
All right. Yeah, I still have an idea for next season of Clash at the Feast to make it a little more interesting, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I actually presented you today with your brand new Clash at the Feast title.
I'm ready, and let me tell you something. I went out and I made a little purchase. I got something in the works for you. You're not the only belt maker on this podcast.
I get a participation trophy. Great. Love it. All right. Let us know what we're playing next week.
September 2020. Johnny and George sat down and played Ultimate Muscle. September 2021. The boys are back at it.
The boys are back in town.
We are playing Kinnikuman Muscle Grand Prix for the PlayStation 2.
And this game actually looks really cool.
It does, and I think...
We love Kinnikuman.
But all right. As fun as this was, sitting a couple feet away from you, is that it? We done?
I think we could put a bow on this one. We have
Pack up my shit and go home now?
Yeah, I'm kicking you out. Yeah, I mean, I think that's it.
All right.
Want to take us home?
All right, I will do that.
And then get out of my home?
Yeah, I can't wait. Go home and do more yard work. That's going to do it for us this week on the Game Marks Podcast. Please check out all of our merchandise at GameMarksPod.com/shop and join us on Patreon, patreon.com/GameMarksPod. The best way besides listening to support the podcast, and be sure to follow us on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod. Leave us a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts and subscribe wherever great podcasts can be found. Thank you for hanging out with us this week. John, thank you for inviting me into your home.
Hey.
And we will see you next week for Kinnikuman Muscle Grand Prix. Do that thing you do, John.
Get out of my house, George. Game over. Marks.
Game Marks Podcast, put them on the radar. Playing rare games, Sega Saturn, no Game Shark. Johnny and George work hard and they play hard. Future endeavor games and put them in the graveyard. From the deep dive to the clash at the feast. How can I get more? That's question of the week. Follow on Twitch, there's nothing that they won't play. Game Marks Podcast every single Monday.
I've seen inside my head a vision, never the outcome you'll be wishing for.